Have you ever really thought about the very first issue of an academic journal? I mean, what's it for? It's not just some random collection of papers, right? It's way more than that. Think of it like a manifesto, a declaration of intent for a whole field of study. So yeah, let's dive into this, because a journal's first issue is basically a time capsule, and it captures the biggest, most pressing questions of its time.
So that's really the big question we're tackling here. What secrets can this first chapter, this first issue, actually tell us? We're going to treat this thing like an artifact, almost like a treasure map to a whole world of ideas, and see if we can decode what it's saying about the future of knowledge.
And here it is. This is our artifact, the very first issue of Studies in Research from January 2022. Just take a look at these titles. We've got stuff on open science, something called queuing theory, a couple of deep dives into other journals, and even a guide for publishing ancient Arabic manuscripts. Now, I know at first glance it might look like a total grab bag, but trust me, a pattern starts to show up pretty quick. Let's break it down.
Okay, so the first major theme that just jumps off the page is this massive, powerful drive for openness. And this isn't just mentioned in one article. Nope, it's a thread that weaves through the entire issue, and it signals that this is a huge priority. It's all about unlocking access to information.
Now, what's so cool here is how clearly they define the goal. This quote really gets to the heart of what open access is all about. It's not just about getting to read something for free. It's about having the right to use that research, to remix it, to build on it in a digital world. This is a pretty fundamental shift in how we're supposed to think about knowledge.
And right away, the journal makes a really important distinction. You see, open science, which is the topic of the very first study, that's the big picture philosophy. It's like opening up the entire laboratory for everyone to see, the data, the methods, everything. Open access, on the other hand, is one crucial piece of that puzzle. It's focused specifically on getting rid of the paywalls around the final published article. So one's the grand vision, and the other is a key step to get us there.
And this shows us this isn't just some dusty, abstract academic debate. No way. The fact that they included a whole report from a conference tells you this is a live, urgent conversation happening right now. People are getting together, they're debating, they're building strategies. This journal is basically planting its flag and saying, we're about action and putting these ideas to work.
So let's move on to our second big theme. After looking outward at making information accessible to everyone, the field kind of turns its gaze inward. It starts mapping its own digital territory, essentially holding up a mirror to itself.
And just how serious is this self-reflection? Well, get this, 102 pages. A whopping 102 pages of this first issue are dedicated to what's called meta-research. That's just research about research. You've got two huge articles in here focused entirely on analyzing other academic journals. I mean, that is a massive chunk of the whole issue. It's a clear signal that understanding their own ecosystem is a top priority.
So what are they actually looking at? Well, pretty much everything. They're dissecting the features of social science journals, the nitty-gritty of periodicals in their own field, how these things get indexed in Arab databases. They're even looking at overall publication trends. It's like the field is creating a data-driven blueprint of itself, probably to figure out its strengths, its weaknesses, and where it needs to go next.
All right, our third and final theme is a really fascinating one. It's this wild pairing of the ancient with the algorithmic. It's all about the dual challenge of, on one hand, saving our cultural heritage, while on the other, using supermodern theory to manage today's flood of information. So, on one side of the coin, you have this incredibly practical guide to publishing Arabic manuscripts electronically. This slide kind of breaks down that whole complex process into these clear steps. It's all about taking something priceless and fragile from the past and giving it a safe, accessible home in the digital future. This is what preserving heritage looks like in the 21st century. And then, on the other side, you get something that sounds completely different. Queuing theory. It's the mathematical study of waiting in lines. Yeah, seriously. The same math that helps organize traffic jams or make the lines at a theme park move faster. Well, one of these articles is applying that same logic to the flow of information. It just shows that this field is borrowing tools from everywhere, engineering, management science, to tackle the problem of information overload. Okay, so we've looked at all these different threads. Let's pull them all together and see what the big picture looks like. What is this first issue really telling us? Well, it seems to reveal three foundational pillars of modern information science. Pillar number one is access. There's this undeniable, urgent push to just tear down the barriers and make knowledge available to everyone, everywhere.
You could say it's the ethical engine driving the whole field forward.
Pillar number 2, analysis. Right. With so much information out there, there's this deep, critical need to understand it, to map it, to organize it all. The field has to understand itself before it can effectively manage everyone else's knowledge.
And finally, pillar number 3 is preservation and management. This is the dual mandate, right? They have to be these careful guardians of the past, but at the same time be innovative architects of the present, using every single tool they can get their hands on, from digital cameras to complex math.
And so this whole first issue leaves us with a really powerful final thought. All these threats, access, analysis, management, they're all weaving together this new reality where knowledge is basically treated like data. And that brings us to the ultimate question for the future. In this new world, as knowledge turns into data, who are going to be the new gatekeepers, and what do they value?